So just got up here, 2:30, actually made pretty good time. Um, yeah, that's the temperature inside, 5 -4 outside. So that's pretty good. Also, just wanted to point out something with our tuckaloafing right there is the cold air vent goes in right above the box where the ashes go in, and I think that helps just look at there's no real chunks in there. I just kind of cleaned the bottom out, so if there was ever going to be any, they'd be in now. But it really, really, you know, makes a clean fire. Really burns everything. So to light the fire, you can see I lift the top thing up and fill it with wood to get it going. And then I have a bunch of small stuff I cut up down there. Supposedly the best way to start a fire is to have the big stuff on the bottom and the small stuff on top, because the big stuff, just if it's on top, creates a lot of smoke. However, my exhaust doesn't exhaust up inside there. It closes. Set my light down and goes in behind and goes up the chimney there. So let's get it going. Okay, so I got a little bit, but I got this from outside, so it's all still pretty damp. That's cold on the hand, this torch. Come on. Yeah, you can see some of the wood. Still has like ice chunks on it and stuff, so should maybe have used stuff from inside. Well, see what happens. It's still burning. Yeah, so I took a bit of dry pine from in here. Anyways, I always take this moment. I have a little razor thingy here. Gonna clean the glass off. Maybe even get some ashes and some newspaper. You make it wet, and then you can that helps clean it too. Okay, here it is with the door closed. I'm going to keep feeding the right side of the fire. Got the glass nice and clean. Even though it's such a small thing to look at, it's a lot nicer than a gas stove. I have no idea why anyone would have a gas stove. You put it in your room and it looks exactly the same every second, never changes. Usually it makes the room too warm for people and they end up shutting it off. And after a while, they just never use it at all. And the really funny thing was to think that these people I knew that bought a green home, they put a gas furnace in because that was environmentally friendly. How times have changed. Now it's wood burning is definitely the green way to go, because it's already a carbon that's here, not dug out of the ground. And the trouble that we have with methane gas leaking, and that methane is 80 times worse for global warming than carbon dioxide. So all you people that thought you were doing an environmentally friendly thing by putting in a gas stove, nah, you didn't. Okay, there you can see the problem with the sun. It's well behind the trees. Not too sure if I have the ability to cut those two trees down, like when I'm far away from them, it's one thing, but when I'm up close to them and I have a good look at them, I'm kind of like, oh boy. Especially I'm not as spry as I used to be, and it's going to take some, when that starts to go, you want to kind of scramble out of there in case there's kickback or it goes the wrong way. So yeah, that's kind of a pain. There's another thing too, and that's the humidity up here on the windows. We've been getting a little mustiness in here too. Kind of laid everything out. And I guess a fair bit of moisture migrates through the rock in the basement. So we picked up a dehumidifier. The dehumidifier, I had it running a little bit, but I don't want it to bring the batteries down in the daytime, so I have no battery at night. So today it's supposed to get overcast. So on a sunny day, I'll put it up here in the bedrooms, and it should take a lot of the moisture out of the air. It also heats the room up, so it's not any wasted energy. It's kind of like taking solar and, you know, and warming up the inside. It says it can warm a room up about 3 degrees. That's not really what it's made for, but I mean, it has a compressor so that produces heat, and that's good. Like usually in the daytime when it's sunny up here, we have too much solar that we don't, you know, charge the batteries up, and then what? So it has a timer on it, but then how do I know? Like I could set it to go off at a certain time every day, so it would continuously put some heat in here and dehumidify the air. However, the problem is, what if it's a cloudy day? And we get a lot of those up here. And then, so it runs through the battery, through the inverter, and the inverter has an alarm on it that shuts it down. So I'm not going to damage the battery, but then, you know, it's not going to work. And I don't know if it'll turn it, the dehumidifier won't turn itself back on again. Because it needs someone to press the power switch again to get it to go back to it, to the timer and stuff. So these are all things that we're going to have to figure out. Like I said, if I'm up here, it's supposed to, like, if it is sunny long enough, I'll bring it up here and run it up here as long as I can, as long as I don't discharge the batteries too much. Glued this up yesterday. This is the joint. Now, the reason this has to be there is, as you can see, I've taken out the studs from here because this is now going to be open. So if you follow the bottom stringer up, the handrail and the bottom stringer are going to line up with each other. However, when I get to the wall there, it obviously can't, because there's no room to put your hand. So it has to kind of move out. The other thing is, on that wall that's there is going to be the pine, like 3/4 inch pine. So it's going to bring it out even further. So I calculated roughly how far I'd have to move it out or offset it. And then we're trying to put an angle on that's fairly comfortable to get us down to the bottom. And then I've got 4 spindles to connect the bottom. I have an argument going with Barbara about she wanted it all to be natural, but I have no idea how I'm going to do that or how I could do that. And this is kind of more of a traditional way to do a railing like this. We wanted it open a bit at the bottom, so I'm just going to do it like this. The other thing I'm thinking about is maybe incorporating some of the wood outside and putting it in between the spindles that I have. And then at the bottom, it's also going to have to be, we're going to have to put a gate in there because we don't want the dogs going upstairs. So it's still sunny outside. Wow, yeah. Sun has moved above that tree, so it's not perfectly on the solar panel. Kind of give you a reading here. So I have 5.3 amps coming in, which means I can't hook up both solar panels because I'd be over 10 amps and I can't put that much in here. And it's at 13.2 volts, so it's really not using a whole lot of power. That's the dehumidifier upstairs. It keeps going on and off. I'm not going to sit there and watch it all morning, but as long as I have sunshine, I guess I could be using the power possibly for my belt sander, but right now I'm cutting away at the offset in the stairs. So I'll videotape a bit of that. I could try doing this with a different saw, but I don't know. It's one of these slow but sure things. One little mistake, and I guess we're going to plan B for Barbara's plan. Now, I always worry about this thing breaking. It's such a delicate joint here. You know, like my glue comes up. Yeah, don't do that. See, the problem is saw cuts at a slightly different angle when I get there. That's not good. So hopefully that's enough of a guide down to get me close to where I want to be, and then I'll use my newly sharpened chisels that are going to show up in my Tool Tuesday. I think I'm going to just try and carve this down fairly nicely first before I switch to the other side. I have a little bit of extra thickness. I'll probably end up using it. Okay, so I carved the bottom a little bit round with my chisel. I think I got most of it. I have to touch up a little bit there. I might just get that out with sandpaper. I also have a micro, what is that, a microfile? Can't remember the name of it. But I don't want to get into the wood on this side. So here I think I'm going to sand with my belt sander down to there. Just clean that up with a bit of sandpaper, or maybe a bit more filing. And then it's to the other side. So I'm working on the other side now. I got a bad saw mark in there. I've been using chisel and my chisels and the hand plane to kind of get it down as like pretty far. I think now I'm going to go and turn my generator on, get the sander, and then I got to sand this down all the way and then take the edge off, and it should be ready to mount then. So this is my third day here. Won't be trying. I should not have left the saw out there. Oh well, it's frozen, so it's not going to hurt it as long as I brush the snow off when I come in. Yeah, so no solar power today, and it's going to be dark inside. However, I've made myself a nice breakfast. Ham, cheddar cheese on a bun, and then coffee to go with it on my messy work table. Oh, there's a bottle of wine in there. How did that get there? Anyways, so yeah, that's mixing work and pleasure. Okay, so I've adjusted my I've hooked 2 solar panels up, and I keep going out there and wiping the snow off. And I'm finally drawing 0.7 amps. I'm up to 12.3 volts. So the battery discharged quite a bit last night. I don't even know if I had anything plugged into it. I guess when I watched the movie, John Wayne Western Hondo on my laptop, and that must have just drained the battery that much. Can't believe it. Should be up normally around over 13 volts. So yeah, you look outside and you see all that beautiful snow, but if you rely on solar panels, it's a curse. Yesterday I had like 5.6 amps coming in, and like I said, now I got to go and have 2 solar panels hooked up in parallel, and I'm going out to wipe the snow off, so I can I'm getting 0.8, 0.7 amps. But if it all day long, it should finally get it usable, so I won't be in the dark tonight. Anyways, so that mark on my level is, go over here. We got the railing. This was a real pain to get in place because of its length. Go around the corner here. Because of its length, I could have made it a bit shorter, and it's a little bit fragile. You can see the joint up there can you see that? Yeah, it's just kind of glued together pieces. Anyways, so I kind of put it in place temporarily. The next thing to do is the handrail is supposed to be from the tip of the nosing. I'm gonna have to get some light here. When it's level, it's supposed to be 32 inches up. So I can feel the tape, and I'm quite a bit high here. So I'll check the top and see if I can raise one up to 32 and then the other one, because it'll switch around. And then I'll start putting my, I've got 4 spindles that I use at the bottom, and then the top will just attach the handrail to the wall somehow. And I think this will just be temporary, especially because I have to put the pine walls up and then reattach it. Being open like this, okay, right, it changes things. So you see the offset there, okay? That offset is there because this handrail here gets held onto the front by spindles like that temporary one right there. Has to be offset, of course, because you need room for your hand up at the top, right? You need that space. And there's also going to be the pine boards that still have to come up there yet. Now, when I used to build, and I had my stair guy who was really good, I was always trying to save money, and I'm like, well, why don't you do stairs like all the other guys when you come to like a landing or something, and put in a newel post, rather than having to carve a 45 out, or carve a 90. In this case, it's not quite a 45. It's and he said, because if you look at the building code, and he's 100% right there, a handrail is 32 inches off of the tip of the tread, and it has to be continuous without any interruptions. So probably most of the houses built in southern Ontario at that time had landings with newel posts, which means you have to take your hand off of the handrail momentarily, which could cause you to fall. So they were all, again, they were all like illegal. You couldn't do that with a building code. However, I don't know, the building inspectors let that sort of thing go. So here, as you can see, your hand will come down, and then you'll just slide it over to the other part. And in other words, it's a continuous handrail. You don't have to remove your hand. So that's one of the things about, you have to be very careful how you put the handrail in here. Now that we've made this open on that side, I kind of had to do that. Like, I've seen some people will go and put a handrail partway down, and then when it reaches the bottom part, they'll put a different handrail down and butt it right into a wall. Well, that's illegal. It's not illegal. It's kind of dangerous, because you can see an elderly person, which is me too. Medications I'm on, I get kind of dizzy, having to go down a set of stairs and then take your hand off the handrail momentarily. If it's dark and you don't get it right, you may end up falling down and hurting yourself. So the way this is right now is good. I'm going to see if I can incorporate some of the wood from outside into the rest of the spindles, and then at the bottom there has to be a gate because we're not letting the dogs go upstairs. All right, I am going to go and check the top right now and see where I am up there. Okay, what a nightmare. I have it at the right height, but this has fallen so many times on me. It's very difficult to do when you're by yourself. I got dents everywhere here. Do a lot of sanding. Luckily, I don't think I broke this joint. I heard a lot of cracks. So right now I'm 32 from the tip at the front and 32 at the back. Doing in the middle too. There, and then I have to figure out a way to fasten the top of it. and then cut spindles and mount spindles. Okay, so I guess with the snow and the water being cold, it just started freezing now. The level's gone down a little bit, but okay, so that's the kind of day it is outside, kind of like yesterday. Actually, I think the lake has pretty much got ice all the way across it. However, when you look outside, this happened to me last night. Okay, hang on. So that's reading, it's down at 12.1 volts, and that's barely drawing any amps. So, yeah, last night it kind of, the entertainment had to quit. Everything died on me. No internet, no phone, no laptop. I have a lousy battery on the thing. Something I got on Amazon that was recommended and a real piece of crap. You know, and my laptop tells me the battery's fully charged until all of a sudden my laptop just shuts off on me. So anyways, I was watching a lousy Monsters movie last night, and it wasn't very good. So I went to bed early. I got the fire going this morning. So I just wanted to show what I got done yesterday. Okay, so I moved this wall, taking the studs out there. Yeah, cut the stuff out of the bottom. I got this lousy wire mess here because I'm trying to get my dehumidifier working, but I don't think I'm going to pull the nails out of that. I'm just going to cut it in pieces and burn it in the fire out back. So these are the spindles. I've spaced the spindles so that 3 could actually fit in between. However, if we do go with the more natural look from boards outside, I think I can make them work in between, and then at the bottom here we need to have a gate, keep the dogs out. And then the landing I've decided not to do with wood yet. We'll do that when we get the hardwood floor and nail it in. So going up the stairs, you can see the little jigs, so that when we go upstairs, you know, we have a hand space up there. Don't forget, pine is still going to be added, so that's going to take 3/4 of an inch away. Yeah, so today I hope to get a bit of Osmo finish on there. It's kind of less fumes. See, that's okay. It's less fumes, and a lot of like good furniture guys use it now, and it just applies a bit easier. So that's ended here. Don't forget, there'll be pine on the end of the 2x4, and then there'll be room, like you can see, there's easily lots of hand room around there to get your hands down. Now, I did find my fingertips did touch the top of these. This isn't permanent yet. It's just in temporarily. When it's permanent, it gets glued in. But I wanted to make sure I had enough meat on here with the 45s. Also, those buttons. I have buttons to cover everything. So when I do the final glue up and put the final pieces in, you put a bit of glue on the buttons and then hammer them in, and they'll stay there. Okay. Yeah. So underneath here, what we'll be doing is putting a kind of a piece so that we can run the pine just barely inside because obviously we have to cover up the, you know, that. And then at the bottom, it's going to get a little bit difficult because, I don't know. I have some veneer here. I might try just putting a piece of veneer in. You can also get a piece of plywood and fill that in with plywood. But it's kind of, my landing came out further because like I had to slide the whole stairs up to get the the nosing and the first riser and first tread in. And then I've got that piece going across the bottom there, if you can see that, is glued down and nailed in and kind of fastens that riser in. So everything's locked into place good. So I'll leave that to a later date. For now, it'll be just finishing the treads just to protect them. And then when I do the pine, I will be removing the handrail, finish the pine, putting the handrail back, and then finishing the handrail. Okay, well, the sun's trying to come out, but not really. That one battery's dead. The lead acid battery is charging. Yeah, the small battery. Let's see where we're at now that the sun's trying to come out. 0.6 amps and 12.7 volts. That's not very good. Okay, so just finished using the Osmo. So you can see I've used very little of it. I only did the treads. I did a little bit of the riser there so you can kind of see what it was like. But it's you put it on super thin. But I wanted to get this on before I came back with the dogs because of the hair and just to put some protection on it. So yeah, it makes the stairs look a lot better. See when I let some light out, you know. Remember when I did the one episode, I made it wet. So it's pretty amazing what pulling, you know, this wood in that from my wood pile was all black and that ends up looking like. So once I get all the pine done, I can do the handrail and then I'll do the stringer and everything. I'll have a bit more time. The stuff smells bad. Yeah, I gotta watch my step here so I don't step on that. It smells bad. So I'm going back down south. So it's okay. So it's okay. So this will be my last one on the stairs, and not just throw in the stairs whenever, like, you know, whenever I do the railing and stuff like that. This was a real nightmare. I probably dropped the rail about 4 times, and it's really heavy and has a very of course it's not a weak joint because it didn't break. I kept thinking it did break. Did a little bit of damage when I dropped it, but that was a real nightmare. That was like 4 hours, 6 hours just to get that in. Anyways, so there with the Osmo, I used that little, it's a newer brush. It's pig hair and then a non-abrasive scouring pad just to go over the top. And you put it on, you put the stuff on super thin. And you can put it on as many times as you want to. So when I do it next time, I'll probably get it with about 220 sandpaper or maybe something finer. And by that time, there'll be some wear on the stair. So supposedly you can just keep adding this stuff and adding it. Just scuff sand it and then put another coat on. So it's kind of user friendly. Okay, so that's it for my stair thing, and I got to get moving here and cut down a Christmas tree that I picked out here and hook up the trailer and get everything cleaned up. So until my next video, see ya.
Runny.